I'm just going to rip the bandage off right here and tell you that the L Word Generation Q has been cancelled by Showtime. They will not be doing a fourth season. And the third season finale, Bette and Tina's 11-minute long wedding that they didn't know anyone at, is going to serve as the series finale for the show. But that's not all. The show Generation Q has been cancelled, but the L Word has not been cancelled because it's being rebooted again, baby. We're gonna have a new L Word reboot, and this one is being headed at the moment by Ilene Chaiken, the original show creator and the original show runner. So what the hell is going on? Who's being rebooted? Who's being given the boot? Who's in? Who's out? What's happening? What does it all mean? You know, that's what we're going to discuss. So let's get right into it. Basically, the article came out while I was asleep that the L Word is not going to continue on as Gen Q, but they're going to completely start again with the L Word New York, which is the current working title. That doesn't mean that's what it's going to be called, but you know, it probably will be the L Word something. But they could actually go back to using the L Word now because they own it again, because when they made Gen Q, you know, all that thing was going with Netflix and everything. So they could just use the L Word. And I think this is a good move because of what happened in the third season. And, you know, for all of that, see my previous 500 videos. But basically, season 3, people were not happy. The viewership dropped a lot. Even I noticed a huge drop off in my views, and as did pretty much every other creator who covers the L Word. And the potential is still there because the audience is still loyal. I mean, we have lost over 50 LGBTQ characters in the past season of television, so that's incredibly disappointing. But we are getting the potential of a complete new show. And just to explain this a bit more, like when something's in development, there's so many things that can mean, but this won't be like, oh, they're going to be able to premiere this thing in like October or something. They probably are going to write like a script and like an idea for what way they would push this show out. Like, you know, they're going to say, oh, these characters, and they're going to do this. And if say you're moving Alice, Bette, and Shane and Tina to New York, like how they end up there and all of that. Kind of, do you remember when they did that spin-off of Friends with Joey? It's like they had to like explain why like he moved and things. So they would probably do that. But also, I mean, my personal opinion, I would go out to every single person who was on the OG and just say, listen, we've got this thing in development. If asked, would you come back? Because then you at least know where you stand with everyone. And you know, okay, I asked these 50 people and these 30 said yes. And you wouldn't have to have like Sarah Shahi having to beg to come back. So there is great potential there as well, because the way they've decided to do this, it's a great strategy. So they have ended up completely wiping the slate with Generation Q. So say they said, oh, let's put Ilene Chaiken in charge of Gen Q from now on. They would have so many people tied into the show, and like you don't know what deals were signed and development deals and all those sorts of things. And then also there's all stuff with like cast members as well, and it would just be such a mess. And then also I know that everybody watching this video, right, I classify people who are in like the online L Word fandom are like top tier fans, right? They're very invested. They're following what's going on with the show. They're following creators who cover the show. And that is why this won't make sense for those people. But think of your friends who watch the show casually, who don't go online and look at stuff. Those people will have watched, you know, episodes 1, 2, and 3 this season and been like, all right, I'm out, because I just watched 3 episodes and then they got rid of Bette, Tina, and Gigi. That was the point a lot of people lost interest. And those, you know, middle chunk episodes, did not go down well. Listen, like my own views were incredibly affected by what happened this season, and those decisions aren't made by people that are happy behind the scenes, and especially someone who fought so much to bring the show back. And then it doesn't make sense that people do that if they're all, you know, getting on and having a great time behind the scenes. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. But Showtime still has faith in the show, and they also know the audience is still there. The L Word has an incredibly loyal audience, and Showtime knows how valuable that is. So they had to wipe the slate clean with Generation Q and install a core that they know works, which is obviously Ilene Chaiken, and they know that's what the audience wants. And by making a good show, they know, oh, this loyal audience will enjoy this. We can then market the show better and, you know, get a bigger audience and get more positivity towards the show. This is all being worked on right now. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with Ilene Chaiken and Jennifer Beals. I would assume that Jennifer is involved because Ilene and her are really close, and like they did a lot on the original together, and I just can't imagine a world in which Ilene brings it back, because especially I've said this before, but if there was a Gen Q 4 season and no changes were made, Jennifer Beals was not going to come back. So that also is another indication as to why this move was made, because it was like they know one of the biggest appeals to the L Word is Jennifer Beals, Bette Porter, Bette and Tina. So of course they're going to even get rid of and start a new show to bring Bette and Tina, whatever you want to say, back. Also, we know the situation with Gigi and stuff like that, and there have been cast members from Gen Q who've said, I think I'm going to be in the reboot. So my understanding from the people I've spoken to so far, most of those people have said, yeah, I think I'm going to be involved in the reboot. So I don't think that there's any like decisive decision where people have been told, we are going ahead with this reboot and it is these 10 characters. So I think they're still working all that out and what it would all mean. Sorry, I had to change the batteries in my camera. But basically, I don't think that there's a definitive decision of, yes, this is exactly what we're doing. This is exactly, you know, the people and the couples that are going to be on the show. I think that it will be the majority original characters, because Ilene, like, yes, she had her name on Gen Q and stuff, and I know that she knew what they were doing and like went to like the Zooms and things, but she wasn't actively involved. She wasn't on set like every day and things like that. So I don't think she probably feels particularly like tied to probably a lot of the Gen Q characters. And I know that like most of the audience, like it's about the OGs. Although I will admit there are people out there who I saw this morning on Twitter were like, I hope this reboot gets rid of all the OGs and I don't want anything related to the other show. I just want a new like women loving women show basically. But I mean, that's not what I want. But anyway, the whole thing I'm saying is they are right there. Like they can make an absolute win out of this by being very selective about what they pick up from Gen Q. Because listen, if we get this show and it turns out that they bring Bette, Tina, Alice, Shane, and then they pick up like Carmen, they pull over Danny, Gigi, Carrie, and maybe like one or two other little bits, then maybe it was all worth it. Like if we get the L Word rebooted again, the bottom line is that I think that they knew that the potential was still there for the L Word. I think they knew that mistakes had been made. And the way they discuss Ilene's involvement, they don't say that she's going to be the showrunner or the writer or anything like that. They say it's a development deal. And this is just my personal opinion, but I do think that this is kind of just a roundabout way of wiping the slate clean and getting rid of the current writers and people on Gen Q that they don't want to move forward with. I think that they will have Ilene as, you know, an executive producer again, and probably she'll have a little bit more involvement, but I do think they will bring in another showrunner, and possibly maybe Ilene will like co-showrun for a season while the person gets used to it. I do think that this time they really need to get someone who is all about the OG and who is going to be honored to be representing the original and wanting to kind of meld those two worlds with, you know, all like little Easter eggs about the OG and things like that, while also making new stories with those original characters. And it'll be really interesting to see what they do no matter what. Obviously, I'm all for OGs returning, and even people that we didn't see shit about, like Helena and Carmen and all these other people. I think there's so much potential with this show, and I'm really, really excited. And you know, I'll be covering it all because this is not the end. This is a beautiful new beginning, baby, for the L Word and the L Word New York. Make sure you're subscribed and notifications turned on so you don't miss any other news about the L Word New York. And as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.